So, our team update. I'll first talk about what we currently are doing with RoboCup as well. So not the technical part, but the organizational part. Then we'll talk about a bit about the software we're currently at, in which stages and what we want to do before Leipzig. And then we have a hardware thingy as well, the camera. So, but then Andre will talk about this. So contents, our mission, how to call it, for RoboCup, software updates and the new vision system we're working on. And the mission itself, so our team captain couldn't come, sadly, to this workshop. He wanted to come, so I'll present this now. So within ASML as a company itself, after China especially, more awareness came to this tournament, and it was really good. And ASML itself wants to demonstrate RoboCup to promote technology to schools and to job venues and fairs. This is what we're going to do. So for this we are going to create a new demo team that will do this especially and write our own software specifically for this demoing itself. Furthermore, we think that the Turtle 5K platform that we bought, we can still push something out of this. So we're going to continue progressing with the Turtle 5K platform, but as well in parallel we're going to create our own hardware platform just to do this and have this ready. Furthermore, let's see what I have to say about this. So we're currently optimizing our current hardware and software. I think Jan will talk about a bit about the software parts, and Andre will show something about the new camera then. Furthermore, we're writing and executing test plans just to have a stable platform. So we did a lot of prototyping last year to have some functionality up and running, and now it's time to stabilize and then build further. So, as a company, right, we do this voluntarily in our evenings. Yes, we have a big team, 34 people, but that's including logistics, the people that promote us whatsoever. And I think for software-wise, we have like 10 people. So we can do a lot, but still it's just 5 full-time employees, so to say, so 5 times 40 hours a week that we can spend on this, but that's excluding. So I think 1/3 of this is just what we can do in software. So yes, we're a big team, but yeah, it's not progressing that fast as we would like to have this. The activities we want to participate next year, so Dutch Open, March 2016. We're gonna, I think first half year of next year, have 9 demo events. I don't know which one by heart, but we're gonna do some. Mini games against DOE in our own venue, I guess, and VL Robot Sports. And of course the World Cup at Leipzig we want to participate in. So this is now currently on the schedule itself. So for software, the updates, the velocities we try to live by. So we really want to share our code with the other teams. I'm still discussing with the legal guys to have the license ready that we can put it online, but we made a decision to actually put stuff online. So we want to put on the whole code base except then the strategy team play parts. When we're programming, we like to keep it simple, right? So the KISS principle, so that it's easily readable for other people as well. What we're doing as well is we are now really actively refactoring our code, that we have the core functionality in just plain C++, and the ROS interfacing just as a shell around it, so that people can easily pick it up when they're not using ROS itself. So that's good. Furthermore, what we do is behavioral-driven design and use continuous integration, just to have the outer testers ready, and if people start committing code, that we know when some tests fail, that we can quickly steer on this, so that we have a more stable platform. Last slide about this, I just said it. We want to create scalable software, maintainable and testable by the other things I just said in the last slide. We're actively indeed refactoring, reworking our code for this. Furthermore, we want to document our code with Doxygen. I think everybody is familiar with Doxygen, I hope. Yeah. No? Just come ask later, it's fine. And we're now creating, we're really maintaining our wiki pages that we can have some backup information about the global structure of the code itself, that you know where to begin. Yeah? Jan, I guess it's your slide.
Hello, you hear me? Okay, good. So more about the software specifics. Colors again not very nice as I had intended them to be. As with the German team, we are also refactoring and transitioning from prototype phase to a more stable phase. But I wanted to zoom in only on the bottom two parts. So in China we suffered a lot from robots which did not do as they were told, and that was a bit frustrating, so we decided to rewrite the motor controllers from scratch and to solve the serial problems also that came with it. We call it drunken robots. And while doing so, making it maintainable, adding new features like not having to connect to flash it anymore. So that's now in testing phase. Finally, we want to use Gazebo not only for simulation but also for visualization capabilities, and I'm looking for feedback of other teams of how they would advise to do so we can make a good decision. So that I said for the visualizer. Gazebo has good visualization capabilities, but of course everybody has already a visualizer, so we only have a limited amount of full-time employees of hours, as Tim told. So we would like to reuse whatever is available and not reinvent the wheels. So if you have feedback on this, then please come find me.
Use the one of Kambada. You can download it.
Yeah, good. So I would like to investigate it further then. But also for the simulation loop closure, how do the other teams, how do you solve this, or don't you make use of simulation at all? It's also. So I suppose in small size leak, this is heavy on feedback and simulation. So somehow we want to close the loop and generate the refbox commands to have a complete simulated match. So. Does any of the teams have this in place already? Also? Okay, I should follow up with you then. I have one more slide on team play, the brains of our robots, before Andre continues on the vision elements, so I will not zoom in on the rest. So for team play, again moving from a prototype phase to a stable, future-proof situation, and a couple of new people who joined after China and are working to refactor it, and we are inspired by the Kambada approach to layer the role manager roles and behaviors and actions. So this is in progress. And that's basically it for the software update. So now, any questions so far? Zal ik even uitzetten. Waar zit er? Oh, die zit natuurlijk hier.
So hello everybody. I'd like to share some information with you about vision things. Check. I have a number of things I'd like to list on. So first, our Turtle 5K vision we currently have, with some limitations we have, and we made a new list with requirements, what we think we would like to have for a new vision system. And if we can find a standard solution which already solves the problem, it's not, so then we go try to do it ourselves. And for that we have a proof of concept with conclusion and then how we'd like to continue. So the Turtle 5K vision we are using, that's the standard thing which was already on there. At the right you see a picture what you can see, and these squares are like 25 centimeters, so you can see about 4.5 meters, but the last section of it's pretty blurry, or you get problems with color because the mirror and the tube, on the end they don't work that very well. So there's one quite big disadvantage. So we're not able to see the whole field, only like 3 to 4 meters. And the other one big thing is we have only a down view, so we look down. I'll show you it in the next picture. And then some less important things, but still things which are on list. It's pretty inefficient use of the pixels of the camera because it's just a wide camera like 69, and we only use a circle of it. So the sides, we don't use anything of it. And another thing which is difficult is the calibration. It's a mechanical thing to get everything aligned. It's not very nice designed. And the tangent function to correct the mirror is also not really nice, so we need some features for that. And of course the same problem most of you guys had with 2D, it's not so easy to determine the correct distance of the balls or obstacles. We have this box. So the down view. So at the left you see the robot over there with the mirror looking up there. The point window. So the camera is looking up to the mirror and sees it over there, and we can look up to only 4 meters, but everybody's now starting to use lobbing, and so we don't see the ball at all. So this doesn't make sense. So we have to find a solution which can look higher. So we would like to have something like this. If you can see to 120 degrees, then most stuff we can get. And then we also can look farther, like more than 10 meters, and then we have a limitation, the amount of pixels we can have, and the vibration of the robot, because if the robot is moving a little bit, then it gets blurry in the end, and then it doesn't work anymore. So then we made a list of requirements what we would like to have for such a system, and we don't need a full view like 120 degrees. Vertical would be more than enough, but we still need a 360 degrees around. And we would like to have, currently we have only 30 frames per second, but we would like to increase to like 60. We don't need if we use multiple cameras and we have them correctly aligned, we don't need a high resolution, so we expect 800 times 600 would be enough. But we want a low latency, because if the ball is coming in, you need to act on it, and it takes you like 100 milliseconds. That's a waste. And also the other one, if you have multiple cameras, you would like to synchronize the cameras so you can correctly align all the information. And another, if you have you can also buy cameras with this wide angle lenses on it, but they have a lot of distortion on the end, so we think we should be below 80 degrees for the main information we would like. And also we had the assembly size, or the size in the top of the robots by the regulations is limited, so it should also not be too big. And the camera should have a normal communication interface, so it's easy to connect somehow, and we would also like to have it compatible with Linux/OpenCV. Availability, and it should be affordable, so we can buy things of 100,000 euros, but that doesn't make a lot of sense, of course. So that's a long list. So we first looked at standard solutions. As I said before, most of the cameras that can do 360 degrees are large or expensive, or don't have any streaming video. And most of them, that's the one thing, most have a limited vertical view. So most of them can only do like 60 degrees or something, and then we still miss a lot. Like the top one, that's the Samsung depth camera. Very nice thing, but it's very limited in height. But there are two ones which are very nice. That's the Panone. That's actually a 300 times 360 camera. Maybe you saw it. It's pretty funny. They put like 36 small cameras in there, and they match all together. But unfortunately, so they have only 45 degrees for each. They only require 45 degrees for each camera. So they don't have a lot of optical distortion. Very nice. But unfortunately, the streaming is expected maybe in 2015. So they first focus on making just static photos, and that's not for interest, of course. And then the other one, that's the Sphericam. It's 360, but they have only six cameras. And so then you get a lot of, and I've seen those test movies online there, and you see in the end the edges already, there is some distortion already in there. But it can do 60 FPS, but it's not really cheap, like 2K or something like that. And an important thing of most of these cameras, there's a closed design. So if you want to tweak something, you're dependent on the API which is provided by the factory. So then we came with the idea, can we not do it ourselves, something like that? Because we are not require really nice, good colors or something like that. We just need some basic information to extract the parameters we require from the vision, like the line points, for instance, or the ball. So like if the Bayer filter isn't working perfectly, we don't care. And you start off, we do the processing on a standard PC, so we'd like to have a standard interface with just a normal CPU box. And we currently have also a webcam, so we thought, okay, if we take webcams for it, they're cheap, they're available all around the corner. And we found this Genius Widecam F100, and this one has a lens like it's 70 degrees by 120 degrees, or 120 by 70 or something like that. If we turn them around, I hope you can see it, but we have stacked here like 8 in a circle around, and they're looking a little bit down, and then we can get a view. And so the cameras do 180 progressive at 30 frames per second, and they have the degrees what it said. So if I put 8 in a circle, then I have 360 degrees, and I only need, for the normal view, only need 45 degrees, so that's very nice. And they're only 40 euros. But we don't have any experience yet with, we did not have any experience with the bandwidth. If you stick multiple cameras to the PC, what's happening? Latency, the shutter control, how that's working, and can we really achieve the 30 frames per second? Because it's only in the folder. And does the camera control work for it? So for that we did a proof of concept test. Oh sorry, first the visible area. The picture in the right bottom, that's so one of our guys, Raf, made a 3D model of it. So and we can nicely see how it figures out. We started off with 6 cameras in a circle, but then we had still a lot of blind spots, things we couldn't see. So in the end we ended up with 8. So at the right bottom you see what the camera is seeing, and at the top is the top view. So all the things are closed now. And the left picture, that's a nice one. So only the green part, that's the part we cannot see with this setup. So only above ourselves we can see, and just below ourselves we can see, but that's just our own metal, so that doesn't care. And as you can see, the blue ball there, that's the thing we can see. So it should be a really big step forward to what we currently have. So then the proof of concept, I tested first with some stuff I could easily get. So I had two of those cameras ready, and I put some other cameras in parallel to test the bandwidth, and some more streams, so to get to 8 streams to total. On just a standard E7 I run this. And you see the setup at the left, so there are the 2 Genius cameras there and 2 of the Logitech cameras, and they look at the fan, and the fan is turning really slow to see the delay between the cameras. And the idea was, if I have these 8 cameras there and I grab them all at exactly the same moment in software, then I would hope that the capture moment would also be the same. And I do this just to make 8 separate threads, and each thread calls the call function, and at the end they join again. So the threads are synchronized in software pretty close. And then the results. What the successor story was, I was easily able to run grab 5 cameras to the USB port, and I even increased the resolution like 1280. That also works pretty fine. If there's enough light, I also can get a 30 frames per second. The camera control also works with standard USB cameras, that's no problem. But I had 2 failures. One is I could only stick up 1 camera per USB hub, so I would like to have 1 hub and stick everything in there, but somehow there's something going low level wrong. I didn't really investigate that, but the big issue is I had a synchronization error for more than 5 milliseconds, and that's a violation of one of our requirements to get things accurate. And this is the picture I've taken. So it's the same, it's a fan which is turning, so it's a little bit blurry image. So the left 2 images are with the Widecam, and the right 2 images are with the Logitech camera. And you can see that the camera is running. I would expect that if the software would align it correctly and the grabbing would be aligned, I think the grabbing actually is aligned correctly, but the camera inside does its own synchronization. And yeah, there is like 20 degrees offset off, so that means it's 14 milliseconds. So I tried around and I googled around, and it's pretty difficult to get stuff synchronized like that. So I think the idea is that the cameras just have their own 30 Hz running there, and you're not able to tweak with it somehow or get it synchronized. Yeah, and it's a webcam thing, so it's a closed design, and we don't know about how it's working. We think it's a dead end. Unfortunately, so a sad story, but we learned something from it. So now how we are going to continue? We can still go out and buy really those expensive industrial cameras, like 1K each or something like that. But we first like to investigate in just standard things, and as you know, the current smartphones have pretty nice cameras, and what I mostly see is they are from the brand OmniVision or from the Optima sensor thing. That's from Micron memories and on Semi. That's taken over again. And yeah, they're just simple chips, and they're really cheap, like a few dollars. And for instance, the Raspberry Pi camera, maybe you've heard of it, that has also one of those cameras. You see it on the left there, so that's the Raspberry Pi camera connected to a Raspberry Pi. But also the standard Raspberry Pi camera also does not have the shutter control. They didn't put the wiring on there. But another company called ArdoCam, they redesigned the Raspberry Pi camera and put the additional synchronization wires on it. So theoretically, it should be possible to get it synchronized. So, and we don't know yet how we want to connect all those cameras, but because in that case we would like to have 8 or maybe 12 of those Raspberry Pi cameras, 8 or 16 of those cameras on one system, and then we get a lot of wiring, and to give every camera Raspberry Pi, that would be a little junky. So probably we're going to hook them up to an FPGA board and use the FPGA as a collector of the information and send it then to the CPU box. And in the end, we also might add multiple of those to make stereoscopy for that. That's the long future thing. Any questions? Yep.
I think that one of the difficulties with cameras like that is that you don't have any information. So if you see a yellow blob, for example, you think that's a ball.
Yep.
And how do you know that it's not outside the field? That's one of the biggest problems with us. So we project balls on the field. One is in the air. We don't know whether it's in the audience or whether it's really a ball which is in the game. And you don't have any depth information, so you don't know what the size of the ball should be.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, that's correct. But there's always, that could be a discussion, like it could be in the field or not, but if you start driving or the ball is moving, if you take multiple images, you can make probably a good guess where it's going. But you're right, it's still like Kinect or something, or that would be way better, but then we need a lot of Kinects, and we expect we get more latency, and so yeah, it's a difficult thing.
Do you have any idea whether you can, so you want to do the vision processing in the FPGA as well, or do you want to do that in the?
No, we did not yet make a final decision on that, so I think that's just going, I think we start off with the PC box and use the FPGA, start off using the FPGA just as the grabber to get the information in the PC, because we cannot hook up these things directly to the PC, and FPGA has that advantage that you can get the clock synchronization stuff very easily in there, and it's working 100% because it's direct hardware. And then get that information somewhere in the PC and do then the processing. But it could be in the end that we move some pre-processing to the FPGA, or maybe we would even move to a GPU.
Do you have any idea whether you can run it on the computer? Do you have enough processing power to process all those images?
Yeah,
because we have some difficulties with that. But
yeah, we think we can. First of all, the main algorithm doesn't change that much. It's like we burn most of the CPU power in localization. But the problem for the localization is the same. So I have the pre-processing, and after the pre-processing you get a line points, and I get like 100 line points, and they get in the localization. So that algorithm will stay pretty much the same. And
you will have 8 times more pixels to process.
I have a lot more pixels. Yeah, that's correct. So it could be that I need to offload that pre-processing to the FPGA, and that's again pretty simple because that's just the color filtering, and so that's not a rocket science thing, and it's also pretty easy to implement in an FPGA. Or in a GPU, yeah. No, it's not a fight. It's like, I think we do both or whatever.
Questions?
You can also reduce the resolution of the cameras. I mean, and you end up with the same resolution that you had before, with the standard mirror camera system. But you can adjust it somehow. You have a parameter. You can adjust the computational power. You can just reduce the resolution of each camera.
That's correct. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, that's the reason I also put in like 800 times 600. That's pretty low for a camera. That would be pretty sufficient, we expect. Okay,
but then you will still have a lot.
Sorry?
But with 8 cameras, where each camera has 800 by 600, then you would have still a lot of pixels. But you could go down to, I don't know, still enough, I guess.
So that's the reason, one of the reasons that we did already this test. So I have done this test. This is actually, one back. What I did with this proof of concept test is test already with 8, so that I have 2 hardware connected, there are 5 hardware connected cameras already in this test, and I have 3 additional streams in there. And I can easily run also the streams already on 1280, so the processing to get it into the pre-processing, that's no big deal. That the CPU, an Intel, so a 4-core CPU can do it easily. So it's just like the information gets stored in the DDR memory and there are some efficient calculations. Actually, that's not my thing, that's OpenCV. Somewhere below there they do some very nice tricks, I think, but it just works. So I'm not concerned about that much.
Any further questions? How do you do the, let's say, white balance and brightness adjustment of the camera, currently or in the future?
Sorry?
Currently, how do you do it? And do you think that you change the way you do it in the future? That two questions.
That's a very good question, actually. The white balance we currently have also an issue because the auto white balance of the camera doesn't work very well. So when we start a match, we just manually figure out how much Kelvin color we have. Like, okay, this is a 5000 Kelvin thingy, and we distribute that information to all the cameras. But now it will be more if you go for these smartphone cameras, we have to do all these things by ourselves. So we have to make some procedure to do some calibration over there. And I'm not sure if we can do it automatically, but I'm also not sure if that's a real hard requirement because when you start the game, in most cases the light conditions will be pretty much the same.
That may not be true in the future, but
yeah,
we are requested to go outside next year. Do you know about that?
No, I did not know that.
Okay.
So
and probably, I don't know if you noticed, in China was not quite tricky, but even if you don't have sunlight, normally, even due to other leagues, you have very strong lights on the top, on the ceiling, which means that you have such an open aperture in the vertical, probably you'll be flooded with that light.
Oh, okay.
It means that you have to take that into account. Yeah. Maybe you cannot even see the ball if it comes from above because there is a bright light in the background. Okay? So I'm not quite convinced yet that this will solve your problem of not seeing the balls that go above. But I think it's a really nice strategy that should be tried out, and you should share all the information you can about that with us in the future. I hope you the best regarding that entertainment. Any other questions?
Basically not a question, but you had a question regarding the simulator. Can you switch back to the slides from the simulator and architecture? Yeah, more or less. About the simulator, you want to switch to Ubuntu 14.04 and take ROS Jade, and yeah, okay. And the last point of this slide is using a simulator based on Gazebo. We also try to implement a simulator based on it, and some research. We saw that the simulation league, or not the simulation, the small size league has already a simulator in place for their small size robots, and it's called GR Sim. And in the core, it's already based on the ODE, Object Dynamic Engine, which is the physics engine of Gazebo. So there is already, it's open source, and there's already a lot of source code you can take, because they're robots which they already simulate, just a small one, but they already have an OmniDrive and a kicker, and so these are basically actuators you want to simulate in your simulator too, so you can adapt the source code and just size it up to the size of your robot. But currently, we are not ready or didn't even start with the real simulator we want to base on Gazebo, but currently we are using an adaptive GR simulator from the small size league. to bridge the time.
Let's follow up on this during the coffee, because I'm interested to hear more.
And also one interference is, for example, in Rust you have Gazebo integrated more or less, and just after the version of Jade they used Gazebo 5.0, so if you stay with Indigo you're forced to use Gazebo 2.0, so they make a big step forward from Rust Indigo to Jade. So
yeah, that was one of the reasons we also migrated to Jade. Yeah.
So we also think about that. So we are basically in the same boat.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your presentation.